Yo, what's up, fam? Nah, the video is not complete. I'm okay. Yes. What's up, fam? Welcome to the Big FX channel. It's another day, right? It's a Friday, and yes, trade summary, right? Trade summary. What went down? Like what went on? Like during the week, right? A lot went on, guys. A lot, right? So yes, I'm just breaking off, like be sharing with you guys what went down. The trades I took throughout the week, right? And yes, before I kind of like get through this, quickly. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, yo, please subscribe to the channel, bro. Sorry, my heart is very kind of like important. It's kind of like a drip check. Anytime I just come in front of you guys, the heart has to be sorry, the cap has to be well fixed. Rate me, guys. Okay, I'm just capping. So yeah, subscribe to the channel because here on the Big FX channel, bro, we are kind of like bringing you back to back. Technical analysis. Trading ideas, what's going on. Like wake up calls, motivational content, but mainly trading content, right? If I'm taking a trade, I'm kind of like putting it out here with the reason why I'm taking the trade. If I make a loss, okay, I'll put it out here. We kind of like review what was the mistakes, what was the lesson I learned, so you watching will be able to pick something and add it to your journey, bro. This kind of like preventing you from experiencing something like harsh. So yes, subscribe to the channel because it's the best. The bigger fiction is the best, right? So yes, during the week, on Wednesday, right, we got a trade which was a buy on GBP JPY, which was a nice trade, right? And I remember very very well this trade, right? I remember very well. I wasn't with my laptop, right, and I had to just do everything on the phone. I had captured the setup on the phone. I just opened my MT5 and I just saw the pattern forming, right? So yes, you have to know your chart patterns. I just saw this inverted head and shoulder forming, and I was like, yo. I just jumped in and just went in on that buy, guys, and I was able to kind of like get about a one, almost 1:3, so it was about 1:2.8, right, something like that, right. It was a very nice trade. It just made sense, right? Inverted head and shoulder, and I just kind of like waited for that pullback, which was the last shoulder to form, and I just went in on the buy. If I had gotten that trade, if I had been with my laptop, which wasn't with me for some reasons, right? If I had been with my laptop, I would have been able to get a more sniper entry, which would have given us about a 1:3, 1:4, right? But yes, unfortunately we got a trade on the MT5 chart, and yes, it still went well. A very nice sweet trade. It was just a buy. A second trade, which was a loss, right? Which was I would say kind of like my mistake. I made a mistake. Right. In the landing session, market had just opened and I just saw a pullback. The market was just pulling back very fast to the zone, and I was like, bro, I think I just entered the trade. And mind you, we had a change of character up there before the market, had got into the zone. So the market was coming with a different momentum. Like it's coming like, yo, I've changed my direction. I'm coming this way. I'm heading this way. So please clear out, clear the way for me. And I was like, yo, you are coming to stop here, pack, passengers, and continue the journey. Meanwhile, it was like, nah, bro, I'm heading this towards the direction. I'm not stopping. I'm moving. So immediately the price just got there. I just went buy, right? But it was all good. It just made sense. It's one of these days with the market was all good. And yes, I took another trade, which was this trade, right? A third trade on DJ, also kind of like went sideways. It's just with this landing session thing. I just realized, as I said, learning, you're making mistakes and learning, you're taking lessons from it. What did I realize from this third trade that I took? Or it was what the session, I'm not kind of like keen on kind of like landing session, because landing session is mostly known as kind of like yo, I'm coming with volume, I'm come to take people out. This way people are buying, these people are selling, I'm come to take them out. So the trade I took on Wednesday was New York session. The trade just went pop in my direction, right? But London, the market is now opening, fresh people, and things. We're just about to take people stop and make some money for ourselves. So yes, that also went down, this week. These three solid trades, and yes, you have been able to learn. As I said, if your risk to reward ratio is always good, bro, you're always cool. I took three trades this week, and yes, I was able to make 1 is to almost like 3 in the first trade, and I've made 2 losses covering uh you know uh which has ate into the trade I took on Wednesday. So I'm left with about a 1 is to 1 risk to reward ratio now. And this is only going to make sense, possible. You can only achieve this if you are always using that one lot size, that one stop loss. I'm not changing stuff, right? You are using a static way, you're flowing in a static way, right? So yes guys, this one went down this week, and yes, we are still positive. We are not in any drawdown or anything. We are still cool, right? Until next week. No, who said next week? Tomorrow I'm gonna be bringing you guys a new video, like updating you guys on WhatsApp. And yes, until we meet again next time, peace out. But yo, please subscribe to the channel. Subscribe, bro. Channel subscribe, please. Peace out.